Welcome. Today we're going to discuss the technique crashing wings and how to relate it to other elements of the American Kenpo system. Now keep in mind that this is not family groupings and it's not a full comprehensive list. Rather, it's just different ways to explore and understand the American Kenpo system and how it was structured. So let's do this relationship through one of the major concepts of crashing wings, destabilizing our opponent. So what I want to do is actually break down each element and relate that so that we can see how that's actually done. So let's start with the beginning. If you notice what we're doing here, we're establishing our base and then using contact manipulation to continue shifting to the right to start destabilizing our opponent by shifting their center of mass off their center line to the right. But can we do it different? Well, yeah, in this case, they were behind us, so let's move them to the front. And rather than shifting it to our right, let's shift it to our left, but continue to shift it to their right. And that would be tripping arrow. So if you notice what we're doing in tripping arrow, we're still shifting their center of mass to the right, but now they're in front of us, so we're going to our left so we can continue to get around them using that contact manipulation. The interesting thing to notice is that we're affecting their width zone. Can we do it through depth? Well, absolutely. This would be something like thrusting prongs, where we're now controlling their depth and destabilizing them by making them bend forward. So let's continue with crashing wings and take a look at the next element of the technique. In this case, the buckle. So once we shift their weight, we're getting around them, we're starting to do this buckle to destabilize the opponent. The interesting thing to notice is that we're not completely buckling them to the floor. In other words, we're using degrees of buckle. But we're using the front of our leg to the back of their leg. So let's continue where we take them all the way down, using that knee to the back of their leg. This will give us something like destructive kneel, where we're actually dropping them to the floor with the buckle and destabilizing them that way. But do we always have to use our knee? Well, no, we can use the long range of the weapon, something like leaping crane, where we're now using the foot to the back of their leg to take them down. But we could also use the shin. And in this case, something like reversing mace, where we're now, again, going to the back of their leg to cause that buckle and destabilize the opponent. But if you notice, up to this point, we've been hitting the back of their leg with the front of our leg. So can we do the front of the leg with the back of our leg? Well, this would be any time that we're doing a buckle, something like spreading branches, or even something like squeezing the peach. But can we do the back of our leg to the back of their leg rather than the front? Well, this would be something like unfolding the dart. So if you notice what we're doing is we're now using this buckle to destabilize our opponent using the back of our leg against the back of their leg. The interesting thing is that it was done using a spin, or in other words, rotation, rather than changing our depth. So let's take a look at the final maneuver of crashing wings and continue our relationship there. So if you notice, once we start with the buckle, we're now moving to the actual takedown, where we completely destabilize them and make the opponent fall. How are we doing that? We're doing it using our arms from the front, using their high zone. So let's do an opposite of that. Rather than using the front, let's use the back. Rather than using the high zone, let's use the low zone. And rather than using our hands, let's use our feet. So this would be the end of Falcons of Force. Once we've hit both of the opponents and they're coming back, we drop down, we do a 360 sweep, and we take the opponent all the way down. But that's not the only way we can do that. If we take a look at something like leap of death, we're now using our arms against their arm to take them face down all the way to the floor. So this is the opposite of that. Use our leg against their leg and take them down face up rather than face down. And that would be something like dance to death. But now that we did that, let's do one more technique. And the reason we're going to do this one is because just like our buckle, we started introducing degrees of buckling. Let's do a degree of takedown. And in this case, something like backbreaker is going to give us exactly that. If you notice, we start to bring them down so that we can hit them with our knee. We bring them even lower so we can hit them with our knee. And then we finish the full takedown by taking them all the way to the ground so we can hit them with our foot. Up. So the way we just related crashing wings to other elements of the American Kenpo system was through the concept of destabilizing our opponent through contact manipulation. We hope this video helps you understand the American Kenpo system a little bit better. Thank you very much.